If you're paying anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 on your electricity bill every month in Hyderabad, a 5 kilowatt solar setup is probably what you need. But before you call any solar vendor, there are 3 things you must know. 1. How much does it really cost? What's the roof space that you actually need? Third, what it can and cannot power to your home exactly. So, let's get into it. Here's a simple way to figure it out. Look at your last 3 electricity bills. If your monthly consumption is anywhere between 400 to 600 units, a 5 kilowatt system will offset most of that. If you're above 600 units, say you have multiple ACs running, have an EV, or run a small business from home, you're looking at a 6 kilowatt or an 8 kilowatt setup for your home. For context, a typical 3 BHK home in Hyderabad with 2 inverter ACs, a fridge, a washing machine, and standard lighting sits comfortably in the 400 to 600 unit range. That's when you go for a 5 kilowatt solar setup. Pay attention because Hyderabad has variable electricity pricing slabs. The more units you consume, the higher your per unit rate. So if you're in the higher consumption bracket, solar saves you more than someone consuming less. Your payback period is shorter and not longer. With 20 to 22 units a day, here's what you can comfortably power. 2 1.5 ton inverter ACs running simultaneously during the day draws about 1.2 to 1.5 kilowatt at full load. Plus your standard home load, fridge, fans, lights, washing machine and TV. That's roughly about 1.2 to 2 kilowatt consumption. Total load around 4.5 to 5 kilowatt during peak hours. And that fits a 5 kilowatt system comfortably. So here's what it won't cover without a larger system. 3 ACs running simultaneously, an EV charger running during daytime, or a geyser running during peak hours alongside your ACs. The honest answer is, for most 3 BHK homes in Hyderabad, a 5 kilowatt system would cover about 80 to 90% of your consumption. The remaining 10 to 20% comes from the grid. So let's move on. How much roof space do you need? A 5 kilowatt system typically needs about 225 to 250 square feet of your roof space. Shadow free is the key phrase here. Even partial shading from a water tank or an overhead structure or even a neighborhood building can significantly reduce your production during peak hours. This is exactly why a proper site assessment matters before you size a system. Not every 250 square feet of your roof is usable. At Artha Hub, we do this assessment for free before recommending any system size. Now the question everyone asks us first: how much does a 5 kilowatt system cost us in Hyderabad? So let's break it down honestly for a high quality system that lasts over 25 years. A 5 kilowatt on-grid system in Hyderabad costs anywhere between 2,80,000 to 3 lakhs fully installed. This is the price after subsidy. The PM Surya Ghar subsidy is already accounted for in this range, so you don't get an additional cut on top of this. A 5 kilowatt hybrid system which adds a battery backup so your home keeps running during power cuts costs anywhere between 4,90,000 to 5 lakhs. That's roughly a 2 lakh difference between on-grid and hybrid. So what would you choose? So should you go for an on-grid or a hybrid? In Hyderabad, power cuts are less frequent than some other cities, which is why 70% of our customers choose on-grid. They prioritize ROI and lesser payback period over power backup. At 2.8 to 3 lakhs, a 5 kilowatt on-grid system typically pays back in 5 to 6 years at current electricity rates. The remaining 30% who go hybrid are either work from home professionals or household with elderly parents or someone who could simply not afford any interruptions. The payback period is slightly longer, 7 to 8 years, but the peace of mind is different. One important note: if you install an on-grid inverter now and later decide to add a battery backup, you will have to replace your inverter. That's an additional cost. If backup is even a possibility for you, it's worth having that conversation upfront before even you pay. Additionally, these are the 3 questions that you should ask any solar vendor before you sign. 1. Is this price after subsidy or before? Make sure you compare apples to apples. Sometimes some vendors quote you MRP and some quote you after subsidy. Best is to always ask for after subsidy install price. For PM Surya Ghar subsidy eligibility, you need domestic content requirement certified panels. If your vendor is using non-DCR panels, you lose the subsidy. Number 3. Who handles DISCOM approvals and net metering processes? In Hyderabad, this involves TSS PDCL or TSN PDCL depending on your area. It takes time and paperwork. Ask upfront whether your vendor owns this process or hands it back to you. To summarize, a 5 kilowatt solar system in Hyderabad makes sense if you're consuming anywhere between 400 to 600 units a month. You have about 225 to 250 square feet of shadow-free roof space, and if you're paying 5,000 or more for your monthly electricity bill. To circle back, on-grid starts at rupees 2.8 lakhs after subsidy, and hybrid costs anywhere above 4.9 lakhs. If you want us to check whether a 5 kilowatt system is right specifically for your home, also to do a roof assessment, load calculation, and to send you a free quote, click the link in the description. And if this helped, share it with someone who's thinking about going solar in Hyderabad. For more content on electricity and solar, subscribe to our YouTube channel.